Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is the Community Pod, and I am your host, Lester Class. Each and every episode is going to be filled with amazing stories from amazing people. You will hear the different journeys people went through, or are still going through, to be able to do what they love. From the failures to the successes and everything in between. This is a place to get to know the person behind their passion, because people only get to see the successes and not what it took to get there. If this is your first time tuning in, please subscribe and leave a review if you love the content. Now finally, I would love to welcome you to the Community Pod. What's going on, everyone? This is Lester Class, your host here at the Community Pod, and I have an amazing guest in the building. I have an upcoming artist. His name is Brandonsea. What's going on, Brandon?
Yo! What's up, man?
What's up?
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
No, of course, bro. I'm happy that you're even here. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So I guess we could start off with where are you from?
I'm originally from a small town in up North Jersey. It's in Sussex County. No one really knows about it. It's called Hopatcong.
Okay.
Hopatcong. And there's a bunch of musicians out of Hopatcong, but it's not really known.
Okay.
So it kind of sucks.
So how were you able to separate yourself from other artists in your area? Because there's so many.
Yeah, that's a great question. Just being myself rather than just trying to grab the sound that everyone was doing, right? Because even with all music, there's this trending sounds.
Yeah.
And for specific areas, there's trending sounds. And I just didn't want to be lumped into that one bit. So I was like, all right, let me try something completely never done before, coming out of where I came out of. And it just kind of worked. So
yeah. So I got to say, I love your energy.
Thank you.
So I really would just want to get into I guess, what has built you to be the person that you are today? Ooh. I know that's a loaded question.
No, yeah.
So I guess just walk me through life as a child and then growing up, and then I guess how did you find your passion for music?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was a little kid, I was always just surrounded by music. My house used to have speakers built into the roof. So every single weekend we would just wake up to the sound of music. And from there, I remember just being a little kid, having my grandma push me on my swing sets, and I'd be singing songs that I'd be making in my head.
Yeah.
And from there, I always just had a deep love for poetry, literature, music, lyrics, everything, man. And then I just kind of knew this is my calling, this is my path, this is who I want to become, this is what I want to do all the time. It's much more deeper than a hobby. It's a part of me at this point. So I just kind of discovered that. And I remember going through high school, I would just rap with my friends. And they'd be like, bro, you got to go to the studio. I'm like, no, I don't think I'm good enough. And then I finally mustered up the confidence, and I was like, let's do this. Again, if I'm going to do something, like you said, man, I got to perfect it. I really got to go all in. And that's kind of what I did, and now I'm here at the Community Podcast.
So what was that feeling like to be able to say that you found something that you love and now you're pursuing it as your forever career?
Yeah, it's definitely a really, really, really golden feeling. Just knowing what you're doing is something that really is intertwined and rooted within your own true self. It's just a beautiful thing. I think a lot of people don't chase their true loves or don't chase their true hobbies, and then they just get caught in a rat race, and it's not who they want to be. And then they just grow up, and then they just have a bunch of just image problems and everything of that nature. But once you find what you really love and then you're actually chasing it, there's no better feeling. And music is stressful. I'll say that, bro. It's super stressful. It causes a lot of issues. It causes a lot of stress, pressure even. But I wouldn't trade that pressure for anything, right? It's a privilege to have that pressure, right? Not everyone gets that pressure. So it's one of those things where, finding that thing that you love, even though it might be the worst thing, cause the most stress, it's still the thing that you love. So it's beautiful.
No, that's great. And to add to that, I feel so where do you feel you're at when it comes to music, right? When I'm not saying the talent that you have, because you have to believe that you have talent to be able to do what you're doing, because if you don't believe in yourself, then it's not going to go well, right? So how so going back to the question, right, was there ever a time where you just felt like, damn, am I really good at this? Like, questioning yourself.
Absolutely. I think it was when I first started out and I dropped like my EP, and it was like the first thing I ever did. I dropped 2 singles and then I dropped an EP. Like, there wasn't a grace period. There wasn't a single run. There was nothing involved with that. Like, I just went right into that shit. Like, I don't know why I did that. I was just like young. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have someone guiding me. And then like as expected, like I didn't have push. I wasn't marketing anything. And then like the EP didn't do as great as like I thought it would.
Yeah.
And it was just like one of those moments where like I just kind of looked at myself. I was like, damn, am I good enough to do this? And it just like was full of doubt. But that's the biggest thing as an artist. You have to dismiss that doubt.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's going to go through doubt in their career and in specific situations.
Yeah.
But the ones that will continue to last are the ones that dismiss that doubt. And that's in all situations too in life, man. Like,
was there, well, to add to that, was there ever a moment where you felt like giving up? Like, if you could name a specific moment. If there isn't a moment, then that's even better. But I feel like everybody goes through a time where you start to rethink and start to be like, hey, is this a realistic, goal of mine? Or, you know what I mean? Because I feel like the reason I'm getting into this question, right, is because I feel like there's a lot of dialogue where everybody has an opinion on what you're trying to do in your life. Yeah, for sure. Where people are like, hey, maybe go get another job, or maybe
get a fucking job.
Or like, you know what I mean? Like, people, like even parents, I know that parents do it because they just want you to, live a great life. And this is the creative field is a very risky business because there's no guarantee in this. But at the end of the day, you're doing it because you love it. And if you're able to do something you love, you'd rather do that than say, I never took that risk.
100%.
So is there ever a time where that dialogue or those opinions that people, place upon you ever got to you?
Yeah, 100%. I think it was the follow-up single after my EP. It just flopped again. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know what to do. I just wanted to straight up just quit music. And I went through the worst writer's block of my life. So, like, I couldn't even fucking rhyme anything. Like, I couldn't get a melody in my head. I couldn't get anything. And it just got to a point where everyone around me just wasn't even talking about music. And that's when I knew, like, oh, fuck. Like, this isn't good. Like, I'm not in a good spot. Like, I wanted to quit. I just wanted to end things. And it got like super stressful, but then I dropped, I forget what I dropped after. I think it was Die Young with Sevens. And that like popped off and I was like, oh fuck, like this is good. Like finally, like this is a light. And then I dropped Man in the Mirror and then Poison, and then Poison popped off and it was like, holy shit, like I'm finally getting into like a cadence. I'm getting into a stroke. Oh, I touched the mic.
No, you're good. You're good.
But no, and then that all happened. But even when I dropped, like, the single after I wanted to quit, it was still super doubtful to me. It was, like, one of those situations where it's, okay, like, I do want to quit, but at this point, it's do or fail, right? Like, like with music, I don't ever see myself fully quitting. I'll probably be, like, 80 years old in a fucking, like, nursing home recording music. I don't know. Like, I really can't quit it. Like, I just love it too much. It's too much of me.
Yeah. So what is that like to be able to be surrounded by people who are now like music? Like their whole life is music.
Yeah. I never had it. No. This is like the first time in my life I ever had like people around me, friends, and just company that are creative and intertwined with either like the arts, photography, videography, production, engineering, songwriting. And it's the greatest feeling. Like, again, like where I grew up, you don't have that. Like, it's not that. It's just a bunch of drugs and shit, really. And like to be involved with other people from other walks of life that literally just intertwined with mine, and that they're trying to achieve the same thing. It's like the most beautiful fucking thing ever. Like, I always tell everyone, like, I don't want to be hanging out and just not doing something. Like, it's cool to chill, right? But like, I want to work towards something. Like, I want to create something. Like, every single fucking second of my life is just like, I want to create. So it's really dope to finally have that. and to actually have that foundation of those creatives around you, whereas they can come to you and say, yo, I love what you're doing, or hey, try this. And it's kind of like this review process, and then this edit process, and then release process. So it's dope.
So as an artist, right, how important to you is the critiques, right? Where
I hate them. No. I don't listen to fucking no. It's super important. It's super important. Literally, if you don't build off of criticism, you're not going to develop, or you're not going to evolve, right? So if you're complacent as an artist, that's when you're going to just sizzle out. You always have to accept criticism in no matter form or what type of form it is or what it may come across as. You have to accept it. You might not have to agree with it, and that's okay, because you don't have to give everyone like that side of you, right? But if it's someone that you know you love or you're working with, and they say, hey, like, this isn't good, like, try something else, listen, right? Because once you don't listen, you're just not going to do anything new. Like Prime, my manager, literally, he like, we'll try songs, and he'll just be like, no, just cut it. Like, we'll just cut it. And I'll be like, I liked it, but like, he's like, nah, that's not it. And I'll agree. Like, and it's one of those things where like, you have to be open to criticism as an artist, because if you're not, then you're just not going to evolve. So.
Exactly. So what I just want to ask a little, it's going to be a fun question, because I guess you could reflect on it, right? So what is one of the hardest critiques you've ever gotten, where you just sat back and you were just like, damn, really?
Someone called me the target version of Jack Harlow, bro. And now I just like embrace it. I love it. So like literally people call me like Patrick Mahomes or like Jack Harlow or like whatever. That's just image though. But like I remember there was one of my freestyles, I think it was like Keep It Raw Volume 1. Like someone DM'd me and it was like, yo, this shit is absolute terrible. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is god awful. I was like, yo, suck my dick, bro. Like, whatever. But bro, like being an artist, you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable, man. Like being a creative, you have to be vulnerable. Because if you're not, then no one's going to see that side that you want them to see, right? Like if you're just giving out this facade where like, I'm so fucking hard, like no one can touch me, like whatever, you're going to get an audience, but those audiences typically move on. Like you have to be vulnerable as a creative, or else it's just not going to come across as true. You have to be yourself. So yeah, fuck critics.
So where I want you to name, right, talk about one of the hardest times you ever had in your life, right? If you're cool with that.
Yeah.
And then the opposite, where it was like the satisfaction of like, wow, I feel so much better about myself as a human being, even if it's not when you were an artist, but just you as an individual. What was the best and worst time you've ever experienced in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the worst times ever was probably like, I'd say like last year. I was just like super, super depressed, man. Like super, super down in the dumps. And like it came to a point where like I didn't want to record anymore again. Like I had a bunch of people backing me and just kind of like pushing me towards recording and making music, but like I just couldn't do it at all. And then I believe like Prime texted me one night and was just like, bro, like, you have to get back in the studio. And then I just started writing about what I was feeling, and that's the stuff that I'm actually going to be releasing now, because like I just couldn't release it then. Like I really couldn't. Like it was too emotional at that time. And it's the stuff that I'm releasing now because I'm in a much better spot. But that was probably one of the worst times in my life. Probably the other worst time in my life was like in college. I was like walking around with like $2 in my bank, literally like walking down the city, going into stores, asking if they were hiring. I was so fucking broke. And I was broke because I was paying for studio time. I was paying for marketing. And every single weekend I would drive from Rhode Island to New Jersey, a 3.5 hour drive just to go to the studio. Every single weekend, man. Like I made that sacrifice. I'm missing out on parties. I'm missing out on friends and social life and studying and whatever, just so I could do the music stuff. So that was a really tough one. But one of the greatest moments, probably just like every day as of now, you know, like I don't think that there's one thing where it's just like it shines above the rest. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of just different accolades or achievements that are great, but like I just take it day by day now, man. Like second by second. I can't be looking towards the future or the past and like celebrating myself because like I don't know what I'm gonna do next. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I have a plan, but I just gotta take it day by day and celebrate every single second I'm here.
Yeah. What is it like receiving support from people that you've never met before?
Oh, it's dope as fuck. It's dope as fuck.
Yeah.
Yo, it's so cool. Sometimes like people will like DM me and they'll be like, yo, like this lyric is so cool. Like I feel that. Or like they'll say like, dude, I love your song. Like it helped me out in like the saddest moment of my life. And I'm like, I fucking love you, yo. I fucking love you. Nah. But like in all seriousness, it's super cool because especially as a musician, you're essentially conveying thoughts into melodies, into rhymes, into whatever.
Yeah.
And just having your thoughts being sung back to you or celebrated back to you. It's like, wow, that's super, super cool. That's super dope. Just like having an audience of people that will support you, that you have no idea where they are, bro. Like, I believe like my second highest streaming country is like either Turkey or Germany.
Wow.
I never been to no fucking Turkey or Germany. But like it's cool because those are other people's lives, and like I don't care about like, you know, gaining financial gain from music. I don't care about, you know, being famous, which is obviously something I want to do as an artist, but the most important thing about like making music is I want to help people with their lives, you know what I mean? Like it's not just, hey, I want to make my life better. I want to make someone else's life better and like, connect with them. So
no, I think I completely agree because I have to shout him out. John, I love you, bro. Literally, I went live yesterday. It didn't do the best. You know, I have 300 followers, you know, and a lot of people didn't join.
Yeah.
He ended up joining, and he was heading from, he lived in Alabama, right? And he was driving to his hotel, and then he ended up texting me, DMing me later, and he was like, hey, I know this is weird. This might sound weird, but literally, I was listening to one of your podcasts, and it inspired me. And it told me to tell my own story, and it told me that my story is as important as anybody else's, and that just made me ecstatic because all I want to do is exactly what you do with my creative art.
Yeah,
I want to help people and I want to inspire people, and that's an amazing thing that you're doing through your music.
Yeah, and it's just like not even just me, man. It's just like all of creatives, right? Like anyone that's putting something out that hasn't been made before or doing something different, it's just like you're helping the world. Like you're showing someone they could do it too, man. So like I think we talked about this earlier. Like it's a risk to be a creative. You don't know what's out there. It's an unknown, man. You're jumping into the biggest leap of faith in your life, yo. But at the end of the day, like you never know what may happen with that. You don't know whose life you may save. You don't know whose life you may change. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like one of those things whereas, yo, if you want to do this and do it, like, do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's dope.
Yeah. So, well,
Shout out, John.
Shout out, John. So getting back into it, right? It was with music. So was there ever a genre that you wanted to try out that you haven't already? Or that in the beginning, was it like always rap?
Yeah, in the beginning it was always rap. The reason I really started music was because like I wanted to have old school like lyricism, which is corny as hell now. But
nah, I still, you know.
Yeah, like I just wanted the bars, but like mixed over with like new age stuff, so I could have the respect of like the old heads, and then also garner the respect of like new music or whatever, like my generation, whatever, generation fucking Z. Anyway, and then from there, like I felt kind of limited by rap. And I'm not saying like rap is a limited genre one bit. Like me personally, I just didn't find a way to put what I felt into rap.
Yeah.
So then I kind of went into like different melodies and kind of like more of like a melodic standpoint, more singing, everything. And then now I literally have a song where it's gothic, like pop punk. Like I'm like, yo, what the fuck? How did I get here? But no, I'm kind of like diving into just a bunch of different stuff, man. Like I don't want to confine myself to one genre. Like I want to just be all over the place, because if you can predict what I'm doing next, that's not a good thing. Like that's like the baby, bro. Like
yeah, the baby in the beginning. That you bring him up, I don't want to talk about him too long, but the baby in the beginning, he was hard. His album was amazing, and he had great songs on it. then it just started getting
it was
repetitive.
the same thing. And like I think a lot of artists are stuck like that. Like they'll develop a signature sound.
Mm-hmm.
But like what you have to understand is that okay, you can have a signature sound, but every single song doesn't have to be the same.
Yep.
Like you can develop your specific voice, and it's great to have individuals know you for that voice. But if you're doing the same thing over and over again, it's not going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think a lot of people just get super complacent within their sounds and they don't want to experiment. And with myself, I found that like rapping to me is like super, super basic, right? Like I can do that, but what can I do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to challenge myself with music. It's not just like one of those things where like I found what I can do the best and I'm just gonna stick to it. Nah, man, I'm gonna fucking suck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to fall flat on my face so I can learn how to do it more or do it in a more efficient way, in a more effective way, in a better way, like, and develop myself.
Yeah. So one question, right, that I haven't asked any other person yet because I really there's a lot of pressure on you right now. God. Okay. What's more important when it comes to being a creative, whether that's in any style of being creative, whether it's being a musician or a book writer? What do you think is more important, success or failure?
Failure, 100%. Like, if you succeed, you can succeed at one thing. Like, you could be a book, like a novelist, right? Or like, I don't even, an author, Jesus. And like, you could have one book that's super successful. But like, if you don't fail, you're not going to learn how to make another book that's super successful. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just go after success and chase success. You have to chase failure so you know what to do to succeed. I think a lot of people just count success a lot, and success is a great thing. And then what we do is we applaud artists or creatives for their success, but we don't applaud them for their failures. And I think that that's a huge narrative that we got to establish as a fucking entire generation, that it's okay to fail. Like, not everything is going to go well.
Yeah.
But how you react to that situation is going to kind of develop into what you're going to be. Yeah. Like, shit, man, I failed at everything. I'm failing. Nah. But like, it's okay to fail, and like, failure is so much more crucial than success. Yeah. So
the reason I bring that up, it's gonna be funny. So I went to a high school near here, right? Mm-hmm. To speak to the kids, and I heard their anthem, right? And it says there is no room for failure. And I felt that was a horrible message to put on
terrible,
kids.
Son.
Yeah. I feel like
fuck them kids.
I feel like, they have to fail. Like you said,
100%.
if you don't fail, you don't learn from anything. If you're constantly succeeding and then you meet a failure, you're going to sit there and be like, all right, I'm done. I failed. That's it.
Yeah, like, dude, when I first started my career, I literally failed so much. Like, so much. Like, there's so many songs that I just didn't do well on, or like I didn't do what I wanted to do, and it was just a failure, right? But like, again, like, as you're saying, like, if you don't establish a narrative where it's okay to fail and to learn from your mistakes, then those kids ain't gonna be anything. Like, it's just establishing this super toxic kind of like narrative, whereas you only have to strive for success, and if it's not success, then you're not doing anything right towards your life. And I think that that's a lot of like what we're seeing today as well, like in regards to everything in aspects. Hey man, it's okay to fail. Like, just do it. Like, as long as you did it and like you put yourself out there and you tried, that's all that matters.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that, because I really, when I heard that, I was just like, that's not a really good thing to implement on kids. You know what I mean?
Terrible.
So
terrible.
Yeah. So when it comes to music, right? Mm-hmm. I know that I got to speak to your girlfriend here, about how you both are artists. What is it like being able to, work with someone that you care about so much, right? And like collide, you know what I mean? Like, to be able to, work off each other.
No, it's like, it's super cool, like dating someone or being in a relationship with someone that's like a creative. It's like one of the most enduring processes, right? Because like, we're both hard-headed, we're both artists, but like, it's a cool thing because like, she learns from me, I learn from her more than often than not, but she helps me with like all my like social media posts. She helps me with like different melodies because she's a singer and I started out rapping. right? And like I jumped into the singing world and I didn't really know how to structure things that well. So like just having her there and like being like, no, do this, do that, and try this, try that, and having it actually work, it's like, God damn, I want to marry that motherfucker. Like, it's super cool. It's super cool. But good God, yo, when we have our disagreements, it's like, fuck. Oh Lordy.
But like you said, it's gotta be amazing because, you know, I feel like being with another creative is just, you're able to see that, you know, okay, I know that we're both going to struggle, but we're able to build something where we're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, shout out your girlfriend. So,
scrub it. No.
I'll edit it out. So right back to yourself, right? What do you see in yourself that you don't see in other artists?
That's a really good question. I think like my specific drive and my specific openness when it comes to like me saying what I say in my music is like one of those things that really does set me apart. Just kind of like my will to try different things, right? Like I always want to try something that's never been done before. And even if it has been done before, I don't want to invent something new. Like, let's innovate it, right? Like, let's make it sound better. Like, let's try something else. But really, like, when it comes to, like, my openness, like, I don't stray away from talking about the bad things, right?
Yeah.
Like, in prior songs, I've talked about struggling with different variables of addiction, right? Like, depression, like bad shit, like, that a lot of people don't open up about, like, the vices, right? And I think that's what kind of really sets me apart. Like, I'm very, very vulnerable to my audience. And I think that's why my audience enjoys me. They don't want to just like, you know, like have people just ignore what's happening in everyday life.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm opening up about it with my life, it's like dope. Like that's different. Like there's artists that do that, but I don't know to what degree. You know what I mean? Like I'll say anything on the motherfucking mic. But yeah, I think like my vulnerability is like a big, big thing, man. Big thing. So it's like, yeah.
So
about my experience.
So you mentioned that you're vulnerable with your audience, right?
Yeah.
How important is that as an artist to connect to your audience?
Very important, man. Very important. I'm still learning that today. Like rather than just like putting out a specific image, just be you. Because if it's not authentic, then it's not real. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are like caught up in this specific kind of like, hey, I want to push out an image. And that's okay. Like, look, like like as an artist, you're a brand, right? Like that's your brand is yourself. Yeah. You got to put on specific packaging. But like at the end of the day, if you're not doing you when it comes to music, that just ain't real, man. Mm-hmm. Like that's just fake shit. Like, and that's not going to be genuine. And people will know that. So connecting with your audience is very important, but you have to connect with yourself to connect with your audience.
Okay. So now that I asked that question, how do you balance, you know, being an artist?
Fuck, I ain't got no fucking balance, man. Yo, that's destiny, man. Like, yo, I literally have no balance. And it's exhausting, man. Like, everyone just thinks like, yo, you go to a studio, you record, and that's it. That's not music. Like, that's not the artist's life. It's a lot of late nights, man. A lot of time sacrificed. Like, you have to make those sacrifices. Like, bro, every single day I am working from, like, legit, whether that's on music, other shenanigans, whatever. It's from, like, 5 a.m. all the way until, like, 12 at night. And that's every day, primarily. Like, every day. You can't have time off as a musician. You can take a break, but like if you want it to work for yourself, you got to go, man. Mm-hmm. Like look, time is one of those assets where you can't get it back. There's no way to buy it. So it's like, shit, man, I'm young. I'm going to just use up all my energy. Yeah. But I have no balance, bro. I'm the worst person to ask that.
What is something as an artist that you've implemented in your life that has been able to push you to be the artist that you are now?
Negativity. No. Definitely being more positive. Okay. In all honesty, like, I checked myself into therapy one time. I collapsed after one of my friends died. Rest in peace. But like, literally, I went to therapy and I just like learned how to talk to yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Like, rather than saying like, yo, doing this action makes me fucked up. Yeah. Just be like, is this helping me or is this hurting me? And you can apply that to all aspects. And that's something that I learned through a personal experience, going to therapy, and then implementing it into my life. But like, rather than saying like, yo, I'm a bad person for doing this, this is not like, you know, like this is not good, I'm not a good person, you just have to ask yourself, like, is this hurting me or helping me? So like, I applied that to my music life, right? Like, hey, should I go to a studio or should I go visit a friend and like party with them? No, I'm gonna do what's gonna help me, and that's going to the studio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to just constantly apply different thoughts and different patterns in with music and intertwine it within your personal life, because you're always got to find something new. Like, again, getting stagnant's not good. Getting comfortable is not good, man. Like, put yourself out of your comfort zone.
Well, I gotta say that you reminded me. So I've lost a friend as well at a young age, and I never seeked help. I never got any help. But you know, it's gonna lead into a question, I promise.
No, you're good. You're good.
So basically, like my friend passed away, and people think that once people are gone, you stop thinking about them, but that never leaves. So is he? Was it a guy? If you don't mind me asking?
Yeah.
So,
I lost like 2 friends in like 2 months.
Okay, so
really tough.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss.
Don't
And
apologize,
then,
man. It's beyond our control, like this type stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
so the question I have is, those losses, is that a motivation for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember one time, like, my first friend that I lost, John. Like, one day we were just like talking about music, like just like hanging out, you know, drinking, whatever. And he was like, bro, like, I really want to see you do this, man. Like, I think it's dope. And then he just passed away within the next, I think, like 2 weeks. And the next month, another friend died. And I like dedicated like a whole freestyle to him. Like, and I think like when you do have, you know, deaths, whether that's your immediate family, like your friends, whatever, anyone in your life, like, as you were saying, like, they just don't leave, right? Like, they're still within you, and that's how I say it, right? Like, I didn't lose them. I'm just now projecting them through what I speak and what I do, right? Like, they're never completely gone. Like, that life changes so many lives because I intertwine it with mine, right? Like, and this affects how I treat people. This affects how I speak to people and what I do now, because, like, I think that they're in me, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Not like that, but like, you know, pause, but nah, like, you know what I mean? Like, every single action that I do, like, it might be inspired from them and what I've learned from them. Like, so yeah. Yeah.
So getting, you know, back to well, you as a human being,
Mm-hmm.
who do you look up to? It doesn't have to be an artist. I'm just someone in your life that you just look up to.
Viola Davis.
Okay.
No, not Viola Davis. I think, like, the people that I look up to are probably, like, my dad. All honesty. I was fortunate enough to have a father that, like, taught me, like, right from wrong a lot. Whether that was him just beating the shit out of me. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't do that. Yo, I'm kidding. No. Whether he was just, like, actually, like, sitting me down and telling me, like, look, like, this is what you're doing wrong. Like, this is what you need to do and to make it right, right? Just a lot of different life lessons that he's taught me.
Yeah.
Across the way. But, like, in terms of, like, people that I haven't met, obviously Jesus Christ and Sean Carter. I think, like, Absol said a lyric. It was like, Jesus Christ and Sean Carter are my only rivals. So it's like one of those things. It's like dope. But yeah, I'd say definitely, like, my dad helped me out a lot in my life. He still does. He's one of those people where, like, I can just, like, run to with my problems. I'll tell it to him. He'll tell me what to do and how to handle it. He won't be angry. I'll do it, and then he'll be angry. But, like, that's understandable, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, like, my pops and shit.
Okay. And so this is a question I like to ask. So what is it that wakes you up every morning and makes you do what you do today?
Money. No.
You're so quick with the witty answer.
Yo, word out. Honestly, it's like, it's just my own pursuit, man. Like, I grew up very, very driven. Look, man, I only got one life. Like, and if I'm not leaving a legacy for people to know, then I feel like I failed at life, right? Like, I want to leave something on this earth. I want to leave a mark, like, for people to go to. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't want to be forgotten. And I think that's one of my biggest fears, man. Like, honest to God, like, I don't want to leave this earth forgotten. Like, I want people to remember me. And whether that's like one person, two people, 100 million, I just want to be remembered, yo. And I think like that's a big reasoning behind a lot of artists going into music or creatives. There's a fear of being forgotten. And that's one of the things that keeps me driven, because I'm going to work at everything so I'm not forgotten. Like, I'll do the extra step. I'll stay the extra hour. I'll wake up earlier. Like, I'll do anything just to not be forgotten. And my drive is just like crazy. Like, I just always want to go. Like, there's not a single moment in my life where I'm like, yo, I'm doing too much. Like, I got to stay motivated with music, man. Like, can't just not like be inspired towards your career as a musician, your career as a creative. It's like, once you do that, it's like, shit, man, like, you're gonna get out of your pattern, you're gonna get out of your just your kind of like routine, right? So it's like, shit, man, I wake up every single day and I'm like, yo, what can I do to make myself better, and what can I do to make my goals actually be realistic and occur, and what can I do to not be forgotten? So
I think that's, like you said, I think that's a lot of people's fear, because, you know, you can easily be forgotten for, I feel like it's a lot easier to remember somebody who did wrong, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Than it is for somebody who did great things in their life.
Yeah.
But I have the same fear where it's just like, I sit back and I think like, I don't care if it's, like you said, I don't care if it's 100 million people. I just, you know, I don't know who my great grandpa is. You know what I mean?
Like, I don't want to be like that.
You know what I mean? Like, I love you. Like, I know you're not gonna watch this,
shout
but
out my great grandpa. I smacked the mic. I'm sorry.
No,
guys.
you're cool. Yeah, like I just want to build something, or like, it's crazy because I get really into it where like these videos alone, like, I just hope that they get downloaded one day, and you know, maybe my grandchildren will see the young me.
Word.
Where like, it's just pass it on, like, and I just feel like that's a big fear of mine. The other fear I have, I spoke about in an earlier podcast, where it's just like, I don't want to die building somebody else's empire when I could have been building mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Because, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, people get replaced all the time. You could pass away tomorrow, and in 2 weeks they'll have somebody ready for your spot.
For real.
So what is it? You know what I mean? Like, there's a drive to be a creative, or just be an entrepreneur to build your own thing. So I'm a big person on doing your own thing, and
100%.
like, you know,
100%.
of course, have something that's providing you the money to be able to do these things. But of course, this is my main thing. I want to do this. I want to be happy with my life.
Word.
So I'm glad that you're doing something that makes you happy with yours.
And like, bro, like when I even like first started out with like professional shit, right? Like my profession, like my career earlier, people would be like, bro, like, you can't focus on music. Like, you need to focus on your career.
Yeah.
And I was like, for what? It doesn't make me happy. Like, it's just literally what I do to make money so I can invest into music. Like I'm a big advocate for being your own boss. Like you were saying, man, like, that sounds corny because everyone says, like, be your own boss. But now, like, really live that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't want to be 60 years old, having a family that looks up to you and answers to you, but you're still answering to another person. Yeah. Like, it's one of those things.
Yeah, like, I know that, you know, we're talking about this, but like, I feel like you said, if you're, I don't like saying your own boss, just because I feel like it's just so stagnant, and like, people will be like, oh, I want to be my own boss. No, like, people say that, but they don't put the work in. Yeah. They don't want to go that extra step, like you said, stay that extra hour.
Absolutely.
You know, oh, I wasn't supposed to go to the studio today, I'm gonna just chill at home. No, like, go to the studio. There's time for break. That break is when you're sleeping. Word. Or like you're eating and you have a little break in between. But like, if you're not really trying to do it, then don't say you want to be your own boss. Just say that you would like to help somebody else. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's okay to like take breaks with like, everything, right? Like, I think a lot of artists, they get caught up in like the chase game, where it's like, you know, you're chasing something that's never ending, right? Like, and when I say like I go, like, I take breaks, man. Like, look, like, this is an exhausting life, right? Creative people have 1,000 like thoughts just circling them at all times. But like, take breaks, man. Like focus on mental health. Like, I literally just took like 3-4 days off because I needed a break. Yeah. A break. Like, I felt exhausted. I felt burnt out. But like, that's okay. But now I'm right back at it. Yep. Right back at it. Like, it just doesn't drop off. Like, take the break, pick it back up where you left off. Don't allow it to drop off. Yeah. So.
So what I was trying to get into is just the fact that like if you're answering for somebody else, like your vacation time and stuff like that, like let's just say, God forbid, there's somebody in your family that really needs you, and you tell your job, hey, listen, I need to go take this time off, and they're like, you can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's just so wrong, and we get, we're in the system where, you can't go see someone who needs you, or you can't be there when you're supposed to. You're just getting paid enough so that you can do things at your home. But moving on, I really wanted to get into the question where, what is it like getting into a field that a lot of people are in, trying to be an artist or trying to be a creative, and there's so much, I guess, competition to be the best and be at the top, because you only hear a few names when you become famous, and it's very hard to get into that circle. So, like, I know that motivation is a big key in there, because you have to be motivated to be able to be like, hey, listen, I know there's a lot of people in this field, but I need to be in this field because I love it, and I'm going to be able to be better than the person in front of me. So the question is, like, what do you take into, or what advice would you give an artist that is, an artist trying to be an artist?
Yeah. Like, music is very competitive. Super competitive. Like, it's one of probably the most competitive, like, fields or career paths that you can go down. And what a lot of people have to understand is that, like, you can have your music friends, like, be friends with them, right? Like connect with other musicians. You can't get caught up in the world where, like, I have to be better than them and I don't want to connect with them, right? Like, literally just go out, go find another, like, musician and link up with them, and then literally just build something, create together. You have to understand, like, it's super competitive, but that doesn't warrant another, like, connection with another musician. But, like, when you get down to it, yeah, music's super competitive. Like, you have to wake up every morning, like, if you put me in a room with this person, I'm going to beat them out 100%. Like, you know what I mean? And that could be the friend that you just connected with. But, like, that's how it is. And it's not like one of those worlds where it's, like, backstabbing, which it is, unfortunately. But, like, that's not how you have to do it. It's not like a cutthroat world that you have to go into. Like, you can be a great person and be very successful with music.
Yeah.
You just have to know that it's super competitive. And, like, the person that you might call your friend might be trying to actively beat you out, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it is. Like, that's just how it is. So it's like, you got to wake up every fucking morning and be like, yo, I'm that motherfucker, bro. Like, you just have to be, like, the best embodiment of yourself at all times. Like, you have to be the best person. You have to be the best, like, in regards to music, like, whatever. But yeah, I think, like, the best advice that I would be or give is, like, look, it's competitive, but don't allow that to destroy your relationships. Go out, literally go cooperate with other musicians, go create something, like, go find other creatives. It's competitive, but hey, man, like, it doesn't always have to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So we're coming to an end, but I have two more questions for you, right? So I never got to ask, I feel like I should have asked this earlier, but how did you come up with the name Brandonsea?
So my last name begins with a C.
I don't know why, but
no. There's more to it.
Okay.
I promise you. So, like, when I was a little kid, my room was painted, like, with this like a mural of fish and being under the water, and, like, I really got into fish. I love fucking fish, yo. Fucking dope, bro. Anyway, I, like, love the ocean and, like, how destructive and calm it is at the same time, right? Like, the ocean, it was where life began, essentially, too. Talking about evolution, but, like, anyway, I believe in God, though. Anyway, back to this. So, like, I wanted to model myself after that, right? Like, it comes in different patterns. It can be aggressive. It can be calm, whatever. But, like, the main reason I did it was because, like, I grew up with my room being painted as the ocean.
Okay.
With fucking fish around me.
Nice.
Dope. I love fish.
If you would have ended with my last name starts with C, dude, I had this whole thing where I was just like, dude, he's going to come in with the dopest explanation of this name. It's going to be one of the most dopest things ever. It just ends with a C.
My last name ends with a C. No, well, it does. It starts with a C. So I was like, okay, like, let me do, like, something cool. Like, C. But, like, nah.
That was that extra, like, A, right? That was extra AC, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Nah, but, like, literally, like, I just, like, grew up with, like, an ocean around me. Or, like, not around me, but, like, it was on my wall. And I was like, yo, I love fish. And, like... That is probably the weirdest thing you've ever heard.
No, I like the way that you explained it though is perfect. Like
Right.
there's
Like,
different flows. You have different ways to do
flows,
it.
different currents, like different depths.
Yeah.
So like I was like, okay, like I don't want to be like, you know, just a fucking rapper that's like, coming up with like the same stereotypical
Lil Brandon.
name. Like yeah, like I don't want to be Lil Brandon, man. I don't want to be Big Brandon. I want to be Brandonsea. Like it just rolls off the tongue.
Nah, yeah.
I think like when I was like first creating my name, like I had the wackest fucking names ever for myself. Like ever, bro. Like I remember like asking like my like friends like, yo, how's this name sound, son? They're like, bro, Mega Mind Master's not gonna work. And I'm like, word.
Thanks.
I'm gonna just go with Brandon C. But no, it's cool now. Like it's like one of those names where it's like it's not crazy, it's not like overcomplicated. It's just like Brandon C.
Yeah. So the last question, right?
Yes.
What advice would you give to any creative that's, you know, going through a time where it's just like, hey, I don't know if I should pursue this? What words would you give them to go ahead and pursue it?
I would say take the time off and see if it's really what you want. There's a lot of times where you're going to question yourself with music. It's unfortunately one of those paths. Like you're putting yourself out, right? It's a big risk. You don't know what's out there. You don't know what's going to happen. But like if it comes to a point where you're just like, I don't think I want to do it anymore, just take a break. Literally, like you'd have to. And if it comes up to you, if it's something that's eating at you, you feel it crawling while you're taking that break, crawling under your skin, then you're meant for it, right? Like I always say, like I literally dream about this shit. This is a dream that keeps me from sleeping. And when I do sleep, I have dreams about music. So like any single time that I've ever wanted to quit, like it always came with more emphasis, right? Like I'd always be thinking about music. I'd always just find it. I'd always see it when I sleep. And it was like one of those things where this is what I'm meant for, right? But like if you think about like, you know, you don't want to go into it or you're about to go into it, but you don't know if you can, look, just take a break, write it down. What do you want to become? Find yourself. And then from there, love yourself. And then love the art, love the skill. Like, first and foremost, love yourself, of course. But then from there, just go into it. Just run that shit up. Okay. Take the leap.
All right. So, Brandonsea, I got to say I appreciate you for being here.
Thank you,
man. Of course.
You like I'm hungry.
There actually is. I'll let you know.
Word, let's go.
So, I'm going to do well, first, I have to let you know the camera's all yours. If there's anything you want to say,
yes,
anything you got going on, at all, advice, it doesn't matter. The camera is yours.
Back to You is releasing March 16th. You could find the pre-save link in my bio. You can follow me on Instagram at Brandonsea with 2 A's. Some guy has my name with the 1 A, which is how you normally spell it. I know. And then on Twitter at Brandonsea, S-E-A, not the letter. And then on TikTok at I am Brandonsea. Assassin.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and I'll make sure to put all the links in the description of
Word.
the YouTube and everything so that everybody can go ahead and check your stuff out. But this is Lester Class. This is the community pod. I just want to first off say that I appreciate Brandonsea for being here. I got to say that if you're new here, welcome to the community pod. And always leave a review if you like the content, as well as subscribe on YouTube and check out the Instagram. It's Lester Class. I put in the description all the time. And we are out. Peace.
Check that shit out. Let's go.